Why is it so hard to forgive ourselves and other people? And if you could go back in the marriage or uh, in the divorce or any of this time, and you could forgive yourself or other people faster, would you choose to do that?
Mm. Okay. Well, I have some different thoughts about forgiveness.
Share.
I just think our idea of forgiveness is kind of bullshit. Like,
Okay.
I think we have this idea that forgiveness is like a linear process, that we're just like we're like holding our breath. Somebody's done something to us and we're like holding our breath and we're just like waiting for the moment that forgiveness is like bestowed upon us from the sky. And then we're going to forever feel fine about that person.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But that's not my experience with forgiveness. I think forgiveness is circular, right? It's like walking a spiral staircase, and we're still going to run into our rage and our unforgiveness.
I forgive you. I hate you. I forgive you. I'm mad at you. Like,
I think that Craig and I are in a very evolved place. Like, we respect each other deeply. We get it. We forgive each other. And every once in a while, I still want to stab him. Like, and I think that we will always have that. We will come back around to forgiveness, but I don't think it's linear. I don't think it's a check, done and done. I think it's a repetitive process over and over again. And I will tell you this. I spent so much of my marriage angry, like deeply.
Give me a percentage. 80%, 50%.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, I'm like, after the infidelity, yeah.
Oh,
I
right,
would say 80 to 85.
You were like, he's punished all day long.
I mean, I tried not, I think it came across daily as just cold. Mm-hmm. Well, you know how a person acts when they need to get their boundaries back, right? But I think that what I learned, I kept raging. I kept internally raging. Like, how could the repetitive loop in my head was, how could he abandon me like that? How could he abandon me like that? Until I figured out that the actual question I should have been asking myself is, why do I keep abandoning myself? Why, if I am trusting myself, if this anger inside of me is telling me over and over again that I am not safe, why am I abandoning myself?
Why are you staying in it? To stay appearance or for the kids or what?
I mean, we actually believe that it is kinder to keep people close and hate them than it is
to set them free.
To set them free so we can love them, right? I realized my job was to forgive the husband of my children. And I needed to do whatever it took to make that happen. And what it took for me to be able to forgive the children of my husband was to divorce him.
Wow.
The first time I remember feeling tender, safe, loving feelings for Craig was when I was in the elevator going downstairs after our divorce mediation.
That was the first time.
And I looked at him and I felt safe and I felt tender feelings and I felt forgiveness and I felt friendship. And that is because I had done what it took to make myself safe again, to restore my own boundaries. So what I'm saying is, first of all, I don't think forgiveness is a before and after. I think it's a process again and again forever. And I also don't think forgiveness is something that just falls from us to us from the sky. I think sometimes we have to forge forgiveness by restoring boundaries.
Wow. How do we create those boundaries?
You ask yourself what you need, and then you don't tell yourself you're being dramatic or you should be grateful or you should. You say to yourself, what do I need to feel safe again? And then you do that shit.
Yeah. I think, what about the relationship? Here's a question for you. I think I'm still this uneducated human being that is always learning and asking questions. So forgive me if I sound uneducated, but sexuality is on a spectrum where, it may not be fully gay. You might be part gay. You might have tendencies, whatever. Right. And excuse me if I mess up terminology.
No, Louis, you don't have to worry here. You do not have to be worried about that with me. I'm brand new to the gayness.
I know that, I'll speak for myself. I know that I love women and am sexually attracted to only women. Yeah. But I also know that I love to put my arm around and be affectionate with a buddy of mine, a couple guy friends of mine. I like to hug people in general, but I shouldn't say never, but I've never thought that I would ever cross a line and want to be sexual or kiss a man in any way, period. It's never crossed my mind as something I'm even curious to attempt. Mm-hmm. So that's just where I'm at. But there's probably some tendencies of like, well, but I'm affectionate, and there's men that would never want to touch another man. So there's a spectrum there. There's also a spectrum of love that couples have for each other. And this is something that you said a few minutes ago about, I was in it was a good relationship or a good marriage.
A bad marriage with a good man.
Yes, a bad marriage with a good man. But what about the people who have good marriages with good partners, but it's not great? It's a 78% marriage, not an 88 to 90%. And sometimes it drops down to 69, 68%, goes back up to 70. It's a good marriage with a good person, but it's still not everything that person wants. It's still, I'm missing something. There's something a little bit that's missing. What are the people that have really good marriages, but it's not great? What do those people do? It's like having the good corporate job that's making you 250 grand a year, but there's something that's like missing. Do they get out of that relationship? Is it, a process of communication and therapy? What is it to get to the level that we truly want, that it looks like and sounds like you're experiencing right now?
So I think that, first of all, the thing that I would say is, like, this isn't a Cinderella story, except like a girl replaces the prince. Like, it's not like I'm skipping around in daisies all day. Yes. Like, marriage is still marriage, and being human is still human, and all the things. Like, there's no Disney shit here.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Secondly, I think that one of the bravest things that people can do is to even admit that discontent. I think that,
but it's good. It's 80% of the way there.
Or they won't even tell themselves that. They won't even, because I think that admitting that you have any discontent or longing for more means that you have to then do something about it. Like, it's easier just to deny that longing, because I think you're talking about longing.
And be grateful for what you have.
Grateful.